Hello everyone! I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. In this video, I wanted to speak to you about an interesting topic or interesting conversation that I'm having with a lot of the, well, not a lot, a couple of the men on my channel. And I'm actually really appreciative because even though in the beginning when they started commenting about all these things, it was kind of irksome to me, and I'm like, why are they talking about this stuff? It's annoying. But then I started really thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what, this is actually very useful because it's making me think a lot about my issues and my relationship with men, my relationship with masculinity, my relationship with the masculine divine, and all of that, which is really fascinating. And I was able to go deeper into it because of it. So I'm really grateful to all of these men on my channel who are bringing up these topics. Even though they kind of do it in sometimes a derogatory fashion, I'm still grateful to all of you because you're making me think and you're making me grow, which I really appreciate. Now, one of the main topics, as I said, one of the things that a lot of the men bring up, again, not a lot, some men bring up, is, they kind of imagine that I've become a man-hater somehow. All of a sudden, because I'm doing all these topics or all of these, videos about masculinity perhaps, or also sometimes mainly about patriarchy. I'm not even doing it about masculinity, but I'm doing it mostly about patriarchy, which is not men. It's a system, not built by men, but mostly it promotes men. But it's not built by men. It's a system that's built by society in general, right? And so I've been doing a lot of videos on that, and so a lot of the men are like, the men who do comment, they say things like, well, it seems like you're trying to alienate the men in your life or the men on this channel, or you're trying to get rid of all the men in your life or on the channel, and that you're not, you have this sort of hatred against them. And, at first I started thinking to myself, do I actually hate men? Because my instant reaction was like, no, I actually love men. Men are amazing. They're awesome. They're strong. They're stoic. They're powerful, I love the masculine energy. I always want more of it in my life. I have a lot of amazing male friends, and I have a lot of respect for the masculinity, for the divine masculine. In fact, like the main god that I pray to is the Lord Shiva, who is the epitome of the male archetype, the masculine archetype. And I think they're conscious and they're strong and they're stoic and they're beautiful. And so I don't have any kind of hatred towards the male or the masculine archetype. I don't hate men necessarily. I actually think that men and women are necessary on this planet. I don't think I want a society where it's only women and no men at all. That would be a very one-sided society where it would feel awkward and odd somehow. I can't imagine living in a world where there were no men. Not to say that I'm saying that all kinds of men are still, that all kinds of men where they are doing all those things that child abuse and teenage porn and all that stuff are still acceptable. But of course, that's their choice and it's something that they do and it's something that we have to fight against. But in general, as a generality, I do love and appreciate the masculine archetype. But what I don't appreciate, or what I don't want, or what I'm fighting against on this planet is the patriarchal archetype. And the patriarchal archetype basically says that men are better than women, which is not true. Men are different from women, but they're not better than women. And it also says that women are not allowed to speak up about their hurts, their abuse, their traumas, which are related to men, because it means that they hate men, which is not true. Just because I was abused by one man when I was 11 years old doesn't mean that I hate all men. In fact, there's lots of really nice, kind, generous men out there who are good fathers, who are loving husbands, and who are good people. So of course, that one experience with that one old man when I was 11 doesn't mean that I hate all men. I know there's lots of good men out there. I know a lot of the good men out there. I know a lot of them are on this channel as well. I see your comments every day. And the more and more I am on the channel, the more I love the male archetype, because a lot of you are such beautiful people. You're so kind and generous with your words and with your sharing, and so honest and open. And so I really do appreciate that. But again, I am against the patriarchal archetype, that system that says that, again, women are, worse off than men, are inferior to men, which they're not. We're both the same we're both different, obviously, in the way we are built and biological and all that stuff. And we both have our strengths and we both have our weaknesses. We're just imperfect beings, just like everyone else, right? So one isn't better than the other. And I'm not advocating for a world where, I want a matriarchal system instead, because it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing because it's going to be a position of power. It's going to be dominance of one sex over another. That's not how I want this world to be. Why is it not possible for there to be an equality system? Why does one sex, one person, one system have to dominate over another? I don't understand why that has to be the case, right? Again, of course, maybe we don't know of the possibilities, but I'm sure it is possible if we try at it. And so also what I don't like in the system is this toxic masculinity and the toxic femininity idea that's perpetuated, where women have to hide their emotions because they need to be more like men, and where men have to hide their emotions because they need to be more manly, and where both masculinity and femininity are kind of shrouded in this mask where they're not really truly their essence. They're not able to show their essence. I'm not truly able to be female, and a lot of men are not able to truly be masculine. And so the femininity and the masculinity archetypes are convoluted. They're poisoned. They are somehow, they're just like contaminated somehow. They're not really truly what they're supposed to be because society convolutes them. Because the messages that we get from society convolutes them, right? And so from when I was very young, I was told, it's terrible to be a woman, and so you need to be a man. So, I made myself stronger. I made myself more masculine. I didn't show emotion. I didn't cry. I tried to be, as much as possible, what I knew of masculinity, as much of a man than a woman, which meant that I suppressed a lot of my femininity, which is a terrible thing. The same thing happens to men in society as well, that they're told that, they need to be a kind of masculinity, alpha masculinity, and not all kinds of masculinity are accepted. And alpha masculinity is all about, it seems like, suppression and violence and abuse and oppression and all of those things where they are on top and everyone else is below them. And again, so that kind of toxic masculinity is not good for the environment either. It's not good for the environment, it's not good for society, it's not good for the men themselves either, because they get confused. Because they're not allowed to express emotions if they want to. They're not allowed to express themselves as they want to, because they have to be that tough, macho man that, protects the family and doesn't show any emotions. Basically the last generation of males, where they just kind of are so closed off to emotions, so closed off to their essential selves, they don't even know who they are anymore. And another thing that I don't like what the patriarchal society teaches us is that there's only femininity in a woman and only masculinity in a man, whereas every person has both femininity and masculinity in them. I have both masculinity and femininity in me. Of course, I have more of femininity than masculinity, but there are women out there who have more masculinity essence than femininity, and that's a normal state for them. So it doesn't mean that just because you're a man that you don't have any feminine essence in you. It's a false statement. There's yin and yang in everything. If you want to have balance, you need to have yin and yang in everything. You can't just be completely masculine. But society teaches men that they have to be only masculine. They can only display masculine traits. They can only be strong and male and macho and alpha and virile, and they can't be anything else. So they're not allowed to show emotion. Because of that, they suppress all of that. And all that suppression causes aggression and abuse and all that terrible thing that's happening in the society right now, right? And so a lot of these videos that I'm doing is not because I'm like, all right, I'm a man hater. No, it's because I'm a patriarchal hater. I don't want the system of society that we're in, which is toxic to both females and males, to both men and women, and actually anyone else, any other gender as well. They're just toxic in general to everyone because they don't allow us to be ourselves. We're not allowed to be our true essence selves. We have to pretend to be something else. Because if we are ourselves, We are denigrated for it. We're told we're not good enough. We're told that we should be better, we should be different, we should be someone else. And so we change. And then when we change, we're not authentic to ourselves, and then we die on the inside. And that's what I'm fighting against. That's what I am talking about. That's what I want to work upon. That's what I want to heal. That's what I want all of us to start thinking about. Not that I want us to be like, oh, men are terrible and women are better, or women are terrible and men are better. And that's not what this is all about. It's not about hate. I don't want to build more and more hatred in this world. What's the point of that? I want to bring more love into all of our hearts. I want to bring more cohesion into all of our bodies and our systems, so that we realize that we don't have to play these games that the society wants us to play. Why are we playing these games? Why are we letting them play? Why are we letting them allowing them to let us play these games? Why do we have to play these games? Why do we have to play these hatred-filled games with each other? And so that's what I wanted to kind of talk about in this video, as I did, because it's kind of scary to me that I can't even express my truth as a female or as a feminine essence without some man thinking that I'm trying to be a man-hater. Because that's what society teaches them. A woman can't express herself because she's saying that men are terrible. I'm not saying men are terrible. Yes, everyone does terrible things. Men, women, and everyone else. There are men abusers, there's women abusers, there's men violence, and there's male violence, and there's female violence. Like, everyone is doing terrible things in the world somehow or shape or form. Like, every gender, I mean. And so one gender isn't better than the other. We're all the same, really. We just need to realize that we need to stop fighting against each other and start fighting the system that's causing us to be in these cages. So I hope I've made sense in this video. It was really important for me to do this video because I realized that I wasn't being true to myself by not speaking up about this. It's very important to me because I do love the masculine archetype. I pray to it every single day. And so I just can't imagine that I would hold feelings of hatred against a man. I don't even hate that man who abused me in the past. I've gotten over it now. I've moved past it. He was doing what he was doing, and now I'm past it now. It doesn't mean that I'm for abuse in any case, or in any shape or form, obviously, but it doesn't mean that I hate men. That's not what's going to heal the world. Men hating women or women hating men is not what's going to heal the world. We need to stand together and fight the system together. Just like blacks and whites need to fight together, the system, not against each other. I hope this makes sense again, as I said. If you wanted to share something on this topic with me, I'd love to see the comments below. I'd love to hear your comments, read your comments. I really appreciate your support, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.